I had a different question that I wanted to ask all the panelists, and if I could sort of intrude on you, I really wanted you to speak personally. I wanted to know how this has changed you. I wanted to know whether it's changed you as journalists, whether you become more religious, whether you decided this is not the profession for me and I should go to social work school or whatever it may be. I wanted to know what personally being involved in this, what effect this had on you.
Kevin, start, and then we'll just go right there.
A fascinating question. It's done a couple of things. It changed me in two ways that I can speak to, and maybe one that I may not be able to articulate. The two ways it changed me. Number one, it made me realize that we are vulnerable. We are incredibly vulnerable as a society. One of the benefits of living in a free and open society is our vulnerability. And I don't think we really recognize it. I certainly didn't. It never really dawned on me that something like this would happen, even though I suppose I should have. You know, I grew up in Colorado. I was there during the Columbine massacre, and so this was just another reminder for me, and it made me sad to realize that how vulnerable we really still are. And it's not a terrorism thing. It's not. It's just. It's life. It is what it is. The other thing that really struck me, that changed me, is that story changed the way that I approach people. I think I went into the story with an idea, which is, let's get down there, let's tell this story, let's be right, let's be quick, and let's get out of there. Because I don't want to intrude on their lives, and frankly, I don't want to get that close to the people. Their sadness is their sadness. They'll have to process that. I didn't want to be involved. But the story really changed my perspective on that, and I began to feel as I was down there, I wanted to be a part. I wanted to be closer. I wanted to know what they were feeling, how they were feeling. There was something inside of me that said, I want to soak this up so that I can really understand what this little, small college town is going through. And I've never been like that on a story before. Usually I just don't care. I just want to be right, and like I said, and be done. And that story really struck me very much in that respect. It changed the way I think about stories now a little bit too.
Thank you.
This is my first real-world experience as a journalist, really. I mean, before that, I was a student, and I had just been doing stories from my office in Washington, and I mean, it was surreal, driving 5 hours to Blacksburg, you know, not knowing what was going to be on the other end, and then being asked to walk up to students and say, you know, what did you see? You know, call up students who had been there. I mean, it was completely a surreal week, and I would never want to relive it or wish anything on it for any other journalist. I had two coworkers there, and they had 20, 30 years of experience each, and they hated it. They hated every minute of it, and they said they'd never done anything like it before, and they had to go ask the tough questions because it's our job, but we would never want to repeat it.
Well, mine's going to sound like a cliche because it is, but it certainly made me appreciate my own family, and I have 2 children, and just cherishing them and the time to spend with them. April 17th was my 9-year-old son's birthday, and that was not a good day for a birthday celebration, but I told my bosses I'm taking an hour and a half that evening to go have dinner and cake with my son, and I'll be back, and ended up editing several stories afterwards, but I was taking that time. And so personally that's how it affected me. And I have to be honest, I've dreamed about this multiple times. The thing that sort of haunts me more than anything else is probably most of you have heard this or read this, and we heard it the second or third day, that as the police were going in there to Norris Hall, and it was eerily quiet except for the sound of all these cell phones buzzing and ringing in the students' shirts and bags, and that was something that has changed me, just that image, and I still have dreams about it, to be honest. As a journalist, it just makes me more sensitive to what we're doing and how we cover things and the tone we're setting, the choices we make, and I've talked about that already. So.
Sarah?
I guess from this experience I've learned that how professional I could be as a journalist, because before, you know, I really thought of myself as a student for a student newspaper, or doing any other stories. But after April 16th, I didn't even feel like a student for the rest of that semester. I felt like a reporter the whole time, because that's essentially what I did until I went back home. But I think at one point I might have gotten a little bit too professional, because I had been working so hard on Monday that I didn't realize that one of my friends was one of the victims until I went back to my newsroom and an editor had to tell me with the door closed. She brought me into her office. She was like, I don't know, you know, if you've been paying attention. I know you've been in the newsroom all day. And so that kind of brought me back to reality. So I treated working on that newspaper as just like keeping my time occupied until I could go home. So guess I could say, like, I was amazed even that, you know, our newspaper continued to print. I didn't think anyone was going to come back, and I didn't think we were going to have a paper the next day. I was shocked to see so many people come to the newsroom. And I was even shocked at my own ability to separate, you know, my thinking about my family at home and my friends at home and my friends at school with working for the paper. So that's how I dealt with it.
I wasn't on the scene, so I would say it taught me about the terrible and terrific opportunity we have to train and educate people for the job that we all love and take so seriously. And I was reminded that evening and thereafter that we teach students, not subjects, and I just really cherish my students.
Thank you.